All right, I'm going to show you how to do the long tail cast on, which is the most popular cast on among knitters. It's extremely versatile, it's sturdy but flexible, it's attractive, and once you get the hang of it, it is fast to do. But it is not super fast to learn. That's why I have made a separate video in this Learn to Knit series all about the long tail cast on. Now the reason it's called the long tail cast on is in my previous Learn to Knit videos, for the knitted cast on, I had you do a slip knot, and the slip knot had, you know, a 4-inch to 6-inch tail. Well, with the long tail cast on, you're basically working your entire cast on with a double length of yarn that has the slip knot in the middle of it, hence the long tail. One of the tricks to this cast on is learning how to gauge how much yarn you need to put the slip knot in at the right place, because this is one of those ones where it's notorious for. If you have a large cast on, there are patterns where you'll cast on 200, 300 stitches right at the beginning, and you have to get the amount of yarn right, or you could be 270 stitches into your cast on and run out of yarn, run out of your long tail. So you want to measure it before you get started. I'm going to measure just for a cast on of 20 stitches. Just to keep it simple, I'm using a big needle, big yarn, so it's easy to see. One of the best ways is just leave a short tail 2 or 3 inches and pinch it, and then wrap your yarn around and count the wraps. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I didn't do tight wraps, I kept them loose. So if I'm going to cast on 20, I just measured, that's how much I need for 10 plus a little bit. So I'm going to double that amount and put that slip knot there. So all of this is going to be my long tail. So I measured as if I was doing 10 stitches, and then I doubled it so that it would accommodate for 20 stitches. So I have my slip knot in the middle with that really long tail. So let me reiterate one more time. You leave just a little short tail and loosely wrap for a fixed amount of stitches, 10, 20, and then you can use that to gauge your full amount of yarn that you're going to need. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wraps. So say I was going to do 30, I could use that 10 wrap length and get 3 lengths of it, and bam, that would give me slip knot right there for my long tail. But I measured it out to do 20, which has my slip knot right here. So make your slip knot and slide it onto your needle. Let's see. Now I like to have the long tail being the strand that comes out towards my body once I have it on the needle, and then the strand that's still attached to my ball is the one that is going away from my body. That's how you want to align this yarn. Now there's 2 ways to do it, and it gives you the exact same result. There's the slingshot method and the thumb method. I'm going to show you the thumb method first because it's very similar to the backward loop method that I demonstrated in my first Learn to Knit video, which I have linked below if you didn't see it. Backward loop is a super easy cast on using just your thumb, but it doesn't make a very sturdy or attractive cast on. It's just fast. This one, you start as if you were going to do your backwards loop. This is the yarn that's going to the ball. This is the long tail in my left hand. So for this one, you swoop your thumb to the left of the yarn and behind it to make a loop. Then you go underneath the loop on your thumb, drawing the point of your needle up the outside of your thumb to catch that loop. But you don't drop it yet. Then you take the yarn that is attached to the ball, wrap it around the needle, and pull the thumb loop over that wrap. That's what makes the loop. So with the backwards loop, you just pop that loop right on. And that is your stitch, but it's a little fiddly, it's a little sloppy looking. With this one, instead, you use this loop to make a necktie of sorts around this loop that comes straight from the ball. So you're using the long tail to make a necktie around a loop that is coming from the yarn that is still attached to the ball. Let me show you that again. Take your thumb to the left and under the yarn, wrap it to make a loop. Then take the working needle, slide it up your thumb to catch the loop from underneath. Then take the yarn attached to the ball, wrap it around the tip and pull that loop over the top, pulling it snug to make a necktie around that loop. I'm going to do one more. So you take your thumb to the left and under, wrap it to make the loop, draw the tip of the needle up to catch the loop from underneath. Wrap the yarn attached to the ball over the tip, pop that loop over it and snug it up to make a necktie around it. Now I've got 5 stitches including my slip knot. So that is a way that some people find most easy and comfortable, and it's sort of a variation on that backwards loop cast on that I taught in my previous video. But one of the more popular ways to do it is called the Slingshot Method. With that, you hold the long tail and the strand attached to the ball, both in your left hand. So you pinch them between your thumb and your finger. Then you take your pointer finger and your thumb through those pinched strands. So the strand going over your thumb is the long tail. The strand going over your pointer finger is the strand that's attached to the ball. So here's where it comes in as a slingshot. You hold the working needle in your right hand. You hold this slingshot formation in your left hand. Using the needle, you once again slide up your thumb underneath to catch that loop. But instead of having to do a separate motion to wrap this yarn around, you can just swing it over top of that strand, pull it through the thumb loop, drop the thumb loop, and snug it up. Let me show you that whole process one more time. Here's the long tail. Here's the strand going to the ball. You grasp them, then stick your pointer finger and your thumb in between. So the thumb has your long tail, the pointer finger has the yarn attached to the ball. You swing your needle tip down, run up the side of your thumb and catch that thumb loop from underneath. Then you swing the needle tip over top of the yarn, going over your index finger, and pull that loop through the thumb loop. Drop the thumb loop and pull it snug. We do that one more time for you, very slow. So you have your thumb pulling that loop. You slingshot down to come up under the thumb loop, catch the thumb loop, then swing that tip over the strand that's off your index finger and pull it up through the thumb loop. Then you drop the thumb loop and snug it up. And you can just keep going in that slingshot formation the whole way. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. out of, I said I wanted to do 20. So let me show you this slingshot formation one more time. So I've got a loop around my thumb. I swing the tip of the needle down to come up the side of my thumb, catch the thumb loop from underneath. Without dropping that thumb loop, we swing the needle tip over the strand that is attached to the ball, which is over top of your index finger. You bring that strand up through the thumb loop, then you can drop the thumb loop and pull it snug, and immediately you're set back up to do another stitch. Swing the needle tip under the thumb loop, over the index finger strand, pull that strand through the thumb loop and drop the thumb loop. Pull it snug. Swing the needle tip down, catch that thumb loop from underneath. Swing the needle tip over the index finger strand, pull the strand through the thumb loop, drop the thumb loop and pull it snug. Let me get really close up here. Index finger strand, loop over the thumb, and that's by sticking those two in between the two strands and then wrapping the thumb a little bit to make this loop. Swing the tip down, run it up the side of your thumb to catch that thumb loop from underneath. Then rotate it to swing it over the strand from the index finger. Pull the strand through the thumb loop, drop it and pull it snug. Let me count how many I've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to finish this out going quickly. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So see how fast that can go once you get the hang of it. And I still have a nice long tail here for either weaving in at the end, or if you have a piece that you're going to be seaming and you know that this tail is going to be at one of the corners where you have to start seaming, you can make the tail even longer and you can just use this tail to seam your piece at the end. It's always better to measure with just a little bit of extra for this long tail than not enough. So that is the long tail cast on. Let me show you how nice and pretty that looks. It's got this nice slanted look on one side, and on the other side it looks like a row of purl bumps. So usually you want to do the long tail cast on a piece where you're starting on the wrong side or doing garter stitch, because with garter stitch those purl bumps will just blend right into the garter stitch. Or if you're doing stockinette, do the wrong side first. Do the purl side here so it matches up with these little purl bumps that form on the back of the long tail cast on. This is always the side that you're going to start knitting on first. So make it your wrong side. That's why a lot of knitting patterns start on the wrong side, because they are planned around you doing the long tail cast on and having this row of purl bumps to start off with. So I hope that you have a better feel for how to do this cast on. Rewind it and watch it over and over again. You can do it using your thumb or you can do it using the slingshot, and it will turn out identical either way. I did these first few with the thumb and the rest with the slingshot, and they look absolutely identical. It's just two different ways to do the exact same process. Coming up in my next video, I'm going to walk you through some of the steps of my beginner's textured stripe chevron scarf. I will be teaching you 3 decreases that you haven't already learned in my series, and reviewing the yarn over increase and the knit two together decrease, and reviewing, you know, purling and knitting. And those are all the skills that you're going to need to do this very basic scarf. And I'll have a picture of it at the end here for you, as well as materials list, so that anyone who wants to join me next week to knit this beginner's scarf can do so, and you will already have practiced this long tail cast on and be ready to go on your brand new scarf. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.